Focus, compose. Oh! Well, that's quite a good question, actually. I think really for me was I spent 18 years working for somebody else, lining shareholders' pockets, and I thought, I'm really good at this, why not line my own pockets? And I thought to myself, what am I really, really good at, and what am I really, really passionate about in life, and have been for 25 years, and it's tabletop gaming. So it's sort of, the two of them just sort of like married together, and I formed Atlas Tabletop Gaming. Again, it harks back to selling fun to people. So here at Atlas, we sell fun in boxes that you have to build, paint, maybe if you're lucky, and then play with it with your friends or people that you don't know. So I get a lot of enjoyment out of people coming down to the shop on our gaming nights, our events, and our recruitment days on Sunday. And having fun and laughter. The laughter that happens in this place sort of really does make it feel like that's what we're here to do, is make people have fun. So a long time ago, a friend of mine, Ian Rose, who will probably be watching this, hi Ian, said to me, hey Karl, I've got this really cool game, it's called Warhammer 40,000, I've got a Dark Elder army, do you want to see it? And he lived in Long Levens, I lived not too far away down on Escort Road, and I was like, yeah, okay, let's go, I'll have a look. And I was about 15, 14 I think at the time, and he showed me this Archon that he built on a jet bike. And you can't do that anymore. The model no longer exists, which is poo really, because you know I always thought Archon. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And he showed it me. I said, this looks really cool. He showed me a load of Raiders, and we were in 3rd edition 40k at this time. So Dark Elder had just been released, and he said, you know, would you like to play with me? And I said, Ian, we've only just met and you brought me a drink. But I said, I'd absolutely play Warhammer with you. And we did. He took me down to the Games Workshop in Gloucester on Clarence Street, which is still there. It's now called a Warhammer because everybody calls it Warhammer. And he sort of showed me around the shop. It's a little bit different to what it is now. And we sort of settled on an army. I thought I liked the look of Elder. I liked the aesthetics of it. Even back then, back in the 90s, it was one of the best looking armies in the game. So I thought, I'll go with that. And Ian said, Karl, it's one of the hardest armies to learn how to play. And I was like, well, that's fine. I like a challenge. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since. I've played every edition since then. So yeah, really, and it's all thanks to Ian. The reason why we're all here tonight is because of Ian. I think if Warhammer 40k didn't exist, this hobby probably wouldn't be as big as it is over multiple manufacturers. So you've got Mantic, Kings of War, you've got Warlord, all ex-GW stuff. So if Warhammer 40k didn't exist, probably we wouldn't be here in the powerhouse that is tabletop gaming that we see today. Well, the objective in the first few years is to be stable, and it's very difficult at this moment in time to be stable as a company because of all the issues around energy crisis, petrol prices, cost of inflation, standard of living going up. So whereas people a few months ago had a little bit extra in their back pocket and they wouldn't mind spending it on a plastic model, it's people are considering, well, do I buy that really cool army or do I put extra petrol in my car so I can go to work these days? And that's the problem all independent shops are facing at the moment. And so for the first year, it's about stability, it's about building a community, and sort of developing that, and then moving on to just making us a lot more profitable in the future, maybe in 3 to 4 years time moving to a larger premises, but I really like the location that we're in at the moment. I think this is an ideal shop for what we are, because it's out of the way but it's not that out of the way to be off the beaten track, as they say. We're right on the canal front, which is a beautiful place. So who knows, it could be that we develop a larger distribution network, or we open up shops elsewhere, because at the end of the day, I want to the Atlas brand, I want to share it with as many people as I can. Yeah, so the plan is to get people in, having fun, having laughter, making enough money so I can feed my kids. Apparently that's a thing, to feed your kids. Yeah, that's the goals. Yes, absolutely. Because without a community of people coming down and playing games and purchasing from you, I might as well shut the door now. The most important thing is to engage with that community and identify what they're after, rather than trying to impose what I want them to do. It's about asking them questions and finding out what do they want. And one of the things that's become extremely successful and really popular here is Magic Fridays. There's nowhere in the Gloucestershire really area that did it on a Friday. There's other places locally that did it on other nights, but Magic historically as a product is done on a Friday night. And we've basically dedicated our Friday nights to that now. We had our first draft last week, which we had 15 people come down, which was fantastic. And we do casual, Commander, and other bits and pieces, Pioneer, Legacy, that sort of stuff, on a Friday night as well. And there's always room for people to come down and play some Magic the Gathering, and that was just purely listening to the community in Gloucester that they wanted somewhere to play. 40k, AOS, those sort of games will always be popular, but it's about bringing in the games that are on the fringes, like skirmish games, Warcry, Necromunda, Kill Team, Malifaux, Infinity, Bushido. These sort of games that people don't generally play that often because they don't feel like they've got a space for it. Well, Atlas, we will do that, no problem at all. Yeah, absolutely. There's always pressure, it's because some people can be finicky. So you have to do what's right for the community that you're trying to build, but also what's right for the business as well. Because at the end of the day, if you're not following a structured business plan, you know, you can fall over, and if you're not making any money, you can't keep the lights on, you can't pay your bills, you can't pay your suppliers, which means customers don't get their stock on time. So there is constant pressure, even though it's just a small shop. There is always that pressure behind you that you're thinking, right, okay, what's going to happen this week? Like at the start of the week, sometimes tables on a Thursday aren't booked, and you think, oh dear, where am I? You know, I get a good bit of revenue from the tables, where's that going to come from? And then by Wednesday I can relax a little bit because 4 or 5 tables have been booked up and loads of people are coming down, and when they come down here they get looked after, yeah, the pressure sort of relieves itself a little bit. But there's always that in the back of your mind, that pressure that you want to succeed, and success comes from having a solid community behind you. It's a very good question. I come in from a background of working builders merchants and tiling merchants as a branch manager in both industries. Competition is fantastic for the community because it always means that we're trying to improve each other day on day, week on week, by pushing each other to be better at what we do. I've come in with a lot of new ideas for how to run a gaming shop, but I've nitpicked on stuff from other people as well, because you'd be remiss not to do that. If someone's doing something really well, I haven't got such a big ego that I'm not going to go, that's really good what they're doing, I'm going to copy that and add my flair to it and do it better. So in my eyes, competition is healthy, it's good for the community, but unfortunately sometimes that competition can become toxic, and sometimes when that happens it can be extremely harmful to the community. So my sort of remit in my own sort of how I approach that, and how people that help me out and volunteer at the shop, is that we rise above stuff and we keep things very and extremely professional, because we're here for the community, and moving forward with all that. There are many struggles, because as a hobby shop you want to be able to provide a safe environment for everyone that comes into it, and you want to be able to say, for example, somebody wants to come down and play some Star Wars Legion, you want to make sure that you have the right terrain for Star Wars Legion. So it's very difficult because when you're starting out, you think, right, what do people want? So I bought a load of city stuff because 99% of Warhammer 40,000 is played in a city fight sort of scenario, but you can do hills and trees and stuff like that. So it's difficult from the sense that you don't really know what the community want from a terrain piece. It sounds really daft, but that's probably the one thing that's sort of like really sort of I've had to really think hard about. And then once you've got the terrain, you have to paint it. So there's a company over in Poland which I've ordered plenty of terrain from before for Gloucester Tabletop Gaming Community, and I've ordered a load of stuff from them which should be arriving in the next couple of days, which is for Age of Sigmar, Lord of the Rings, Kings of War, so very rural based scenery, so hills, trees, that sort of stuff, because that's what they want to be playing with. So it sounds really daft, but one of the hardest things I had to choose was what sort of terrain do I want to open the shop with. And I think I've done a very good job. I've had some good donations as well. I've borrowed some from our local gaming club, which I also help run, and so far so good. This other terrain will allow us to expand a little bit more, but it's one thing you wouldn't have thought of as a hobby shop that you need, that's really important to your business. Okay, so we do on a Thursday night we do skirmish nights, which enables people to come down and play with their Warcry gangs, Necromunda gangs, kill teams, you know, Bushido troops, Malifaux, Infinity, those sort of games on a Thursday night. So on a Friday night we'll also look at Magic the Gathering. It takes up 4 of our big tables, but there's always 2 tables available, so we tend to have a lot of Age of Sigmar players come in and play that as well. Also we are a premium shop for Mantic, which manufacture Kings of War, so we stock the entire Kings of War range, and we just recently, this last weekend gone, had a Kings of War tournament. We had 8 generals down. It was a fantastic day. Their picture will go on the Wall of Fame behind me, the winner, and they're very the painting standard, I just want to touch on that, was absolutely incredible. The Kings of War really gives you that ability to turn a base into a diorama. It's a fantastic system for that. And on Saturdays is where we generally hold all our events, and then on Sunday we've got the recruitment day again, so we're going to have plenty of kids in, screaming, throwing dice at each other, learning how to paint and build in a safe, friendly environment. So we'll have that happening on Sunday, and that's sort of the process of the week, really. But you know, even if you don't want to come down and play skirmish games, there's always tables available for you to book and to play. All you need to do is head to our website and do it. We're also starting to stock more and more items as well in the shop, and it's all on our website, ready to rock and roll, really. It's a very good question. Sundays are extremely important for the hobby to continue, so you have to have succession planning. It sounds really silly, because normally in a management team you'll have succession planning, who's going to take over your position when you move on to a bigger, better branch. And for me, Recruitment Sunday is so important because you are literally showing the people that are just getting into the hobby how to play in the hobby, how to build their models, how to paint it, but it's all their choice how they paint or what they paint it. But the basic skills that you require to play the game is really important to learn. And what I've always said about our hobby is, if you're in a hobby like this, you need to be an ambassador for that hobby, and that's exactly what I am. I am so passionate about getting the younger generation in to show them how to play the games, and it could be anything they want to learn how to play. So we sort of, my main strengths is Warhammer 40,000, Star Wars Armada, Armada from Mantic, Star Wars X-Wing, not so much Legion, but I will be learning that because I think it's a fantastic game, to be honest. Kings of War as well, Age of Sigmar. So these are my strengths. But the thing what you need to do is, when you're running a shop like this, is to identify what your weaknesses are. Some of my main weaknesses really is around board games and skirmishy type games. So it's why I have other people to help me show people those games, because it's important that we sort of encompass everything that's going on. So Luke helps me on a Sunday. He really gets involved, he loves it, and the people that come in, the feedback we're getting is that this is fantastic. And when we first opened, it was one of the main things that I wanted us to nail, and we're slowly getting there. We're not getting it 100%, and I wouldn't expect us to be doing that, but there is always that room for expansion and improvement, because nobody else was doing it. And all of a sudden people are starting to do it because they're seeing the benefit it has for this shop and the community that we're trying to build, and people are then starting to go, actually, we need to do that as well, because, you know, all we've been doing is selling boxes but not really engaging with that community that we have. And now that I'm doing that passionately on a Sunday, and yeah, it's going extremely well, and the kids are loving it. My son, he's 10, he comes in, he shows them how to play. It's really good, and it's, yeah, at some point I would imagine seeing these younglings really to be coming to the tournaments that we hold here, which we hold nearly every weekend. We'll have an event or tournament, and you know, it's about building that confidence up in them to be able to say, hey, I can do that, no problem at all.
Hello everyone, it's me, the voice behind the camera. You've been watching Interview with Karl, the owner of Atlas Tabletop Gaming. Thank you for tuning in. I sound like a bloody flight attendant. The exits are here, 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 and here. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and help the YouTube channel grow. Stay tuned for the next episode of Atlas TV, Tabletop Gaming, whatever we're calling it now. It'll be released rather soon. Take care, goodbye, and of course, there's another little clip coming up.
Can I have a cup of tea?
Quick 5 minutes. Is it hot?
It's f***ing hot underneath these lamps.